Hello friend, this is going to be a very small program in C++ where you will learn how to take input from the user using object-oriented programming. And for that reason, I declared a class by the name called sum. Usually a class name the very first letter starts with uppercase. Well, these are the two access specifier which you have to provide in any of the C++ class program, private and public. Inside private, I have declared couple of three variables. Well, these variables will be taking input from the user and then it will calculate the result. Okay. And over here what I did is, well, if you see over here, the class name is sum and it looks like a method, or I mean to say it looks like a function. Well, if a function has a class name, if both the name are same, then basically that's called a constructor. So a class name and a function name being same is called constructor, and constructor is just to use to initialize any of the variables. But over here I'm not going to initialize any variables, so I'm simply printing this particular message. Okay. And a class do not, and a constructor has got no return type. That's something very important. So over here you don't find any return type, well, not even a void. Okay. I will go for one more video on constructor details, but this is just to show you how to take input from the user. And over here I have got couple of method void input that will be taking input from the user, and calculate will calculate the sum of two numbers. And make sure your class should end with a semicolon at the end. Okay, so that's how a usual C++ class looks like. And then over here int main comes in picture. I'm creating two variable over here. Well, these variables are actually not required, so let me remove these two variables because I'm taking the input right inside this function. And what I have done over here, I'm giving a call to my constructor and I'm creating an object. So you don't have to call the constructor separately. This is how you create an object. Sum is the class name, obj is the object name. So when you're writing this, automatically the constructor gets called and the constructor will be executed by default. You don't have to call the constructor separately. So now with the help of this object, you are going to call your function input. So how do you call it? Object name followed by a dot operator or a period and the function name. So the control will come right over here and then it will print the following message. Well, before that it will print this particular message because over here the object got created. And then it will take the input from the user, and the respective input will get stored in the following two variables. And finally the object is going to give a call to the calculate function. Over here it will come, well, these two variables were already the class variable, so naturally these two variables are also available inside this particular function called calculate. So 1 and 2 will be added up together and that will get stored, the result will get stored in some variable, and finally the following line is going to be displayed. So very quickly let me run the program and let me show you what the output is going over here. So as you can see over here, the moment I executed, the constructor got fired because of the object creation, and because of that reason the following line is coming by default. And then the constructor gave birth to the object giving call to the input function, it comes over here, and because of that this two line is getting printed. Now user is supposed to give two numbers, whatever your choice is. This is the first number, here is my second number. As I hit the enter, the calculate function will be called and over here it will come, it will calculate, and then the following result will be displayed right beneath. And here comes the display the sum of this. This is the variable holding the value 3 and this is the variable holding the value 2, next value, and finally the last variable is holding the value sum, and eventually you saw the output. So this is how a very standard C++ program that takes input from the user, and these are the basic structure that you have to maintain. In my next program I will be talking a little bit more about the constructor. Okay, so that's all from this video. Thank you very much.